Alright guys, I've been promised you a bee video, so here we go. Here's one of my yards. Basically only got 3 hives here, but tell that the bees are bringing in pollen. Let's see if we can catch one landing here. There's several going in right here with pollen on. See if we can get right over here on this hive. There's a couple of them just come in with some yellow pollen on them. A couple of more right there just come in. So they're bringing pollen in right now. There's one, a little bit darker yellow. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get back up here, and this hive here with the dog kennel on it is just a extra box I left sitting here in case they swarmed. It'd have them spot for the swarm to go in, and I didn't have a top to put on it, so I just used that old pet box and put it on there. But anyway, guys, ease up here to the truck and I'll show y'all just the basic equipment needed for beekeeping. Of course, you got to have a smoker. Smoker's one of the main things you'll need. Most of the time mine's just loaded with pine needles. That's usually what's easy to grab and what's dry around me. And I've got this beekeeping pry bar tool here. We'll use it to get in the hives. At minimum, you want to have a veil, and a lot of times I don't wear my veil, but if they do get mean, you'll want to have a veil to put on, or a jacket, and they even make a full body suit if that's something you want. Got a protein patty here today. We're going to put a protein patty on all 3 of these hives. I'm just gonna split it right down into thirds, and we'll put a third of that patty on each hive. And then I've got 2 boxes here just in case I need to do a split or need some extra frames. I brought them with me. And then I've got this stand right here in case we need to leave one of them sitting here. And we may do that anyway, just to leave another box over here. But hang tight with me, guys. We'll get over here and get into these hives and show you what the insides of them look like. All right, guys. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Just gonna crack this lid and blow a little bit of smoke in there to calm these bees down. Alright guys, so there's a top cover on there. Do the same thing here. We're just gonna crack that top cover. Lift it up on this end, blow a little smoke in there. Now we're just looking for our queen, just on the top bottom of that cover, just make sure she's not there. Alright guys, we're gonna go through this hive and pull frames out one at a time and see if we can make sure that they've got pollen, nectar coming in. A few bees working on that frame. They're just cleaning the cells out, getting ready to put something in it. Same thing on both of these. Is really nothing on them. Just gonna push these back over to the side and get here more to the middle where the bees are concentrated at. And one thing I'm looking for today is just see how much room the bees have in the hives. I wanted to swarm, and they've got plenty of room here. A lot of empty frames still, so I'm not worried about this hive swarming. All right, here's our first frame with several bees on it. Let's pull it out and see if we can tell what's going on here. A lot of nectar in there, guys. I don't know if you can tell. See if I can get it in the sun. You can see all that nectar glistening in there. Just looks like water glistening, and that's the nectar that they brought in. It'll eventually be honey. Nothing on this back side yet. And we're gonna take that. If you're not careful, they'll get honey bound. They'll fill this up and they won't go past it. So we're gonna take this and move it a couple frames over. That way they'll start filling these up. Drop it right back down in there. All right, take a look at this next frame here. Guys, I've already come in here and they rotated these boxes. Basically, they went through the winter with 2 deeps on them. And then when I come in here first thing, checked on that bottom. This was originally the bottom box. And it was empty, completely cleaned out for the winter time. So I moved it to the top, and so they start working on them. And here again, guys, we got, look at all that. Hopefully you guys can see it. A lot of nectar up here around this ring, and then they've got pollen stored all in the middle here. See if I can get it up in the sun there and let you see the different colors of all that pollen. So you can see the nectar all around the outside and the pollen in the center. Hopefully you guys are getting that. And this side, they're just starting to put some pollen on this back side here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to actually move it out here to this very... Yeah, we're just going to let them go for right now. Let them do what they're going to do. We'll go ahead and move that empty frame between these two here. Stick that pollen down in there. We're hoping, another thing, we're seeing the nectar, we're seeing the pollens. That's good. That's your food source. Now we just want to make sure that the queen's doing her job, and we're hoping that we can see some eggs down in here. So pull this frame out. All right, there's what we want to see, guys. So we can see all that cat brood there. And she's laying a good pattern. She's filling that center up with brood, so she's doing well. You guys will look, we've got some nectar up here in both corners they're getting ready to make honey with, and then we've got a ring of pollen underneath that. There's like a rainbow, the different color of pollen. Hopefully you guys can see that, the nectar in the corner and then the ring of pollen, and then in the middle we've got that older larvae that's already capped over, getting ready to turn into bees. You can see a few of them that are just starting to cap over in there, that larvae. And then out here on the outer edge, you can see some of the younger stuff that hadn't been capped yet. There's a bee right there with some yellow pollen coming in, looking for a place to put it. But this hive's doing well, guys. So let's turn around and look at that back side. Same thing there, a lot of some good brood there, good pattern. Not seeing any eggs, so she hadn't come back around and laid eggs yet, but they've got nectar in the corners, and then starting to put the pollen in there, so that's good. I'm going to drop it right back down in there. Come over here to this next frame here, and we're going to take a look at it. Really, we've seen all that we need to see, guys. She's laying good pattern. They've got nectar, they've got pollen, so we're just gonna, we could leave them alone at this point, but since we're in here, I'm gonna go ahead and take one look right here at this frame. It's stuck in there pretty good. We're just gonna pry the corners up here. Probably hung on that bottom box. They built some bridge comb in there holding that frame. All right, guys, so there's You can see we've got quite a bit of drone brood on this frame. Got a queen cell they're starting right here. A couple of queen cells on the bottom, so they're getting those cells made up. Some on this side, getting ready to possibly make a new queen and swarm, but they're not there yet. They still got plenty of room. And we see some brood there, and she hadn't come back around and laid eggs in those spots yet. Good brood here, lots of brood. You see on the bottom we've got all these bigger cells that are sticking out, drone cells. So those are going to be the male bees, and they're getting ready to hatch the male bees. Always keep an eye out for the queen, and I'm not seeing her, guys. Tell you, we don't want this hive to swarm, so we're going to go ahead and pull these queen cells off just to hopefully encourage them not to build. Flip it around here. None of them's got eggs in them yet. They're still dry, so they're not getting ready to do anything yet, but we're just gonna go ahead and knock all those off just to encourage them. Not encouraging them to, just won't be there. All right, guys, we're gonna drop that. We're gonna drop that one back down in there. We're gonna go ahead and, since we saw those queen cells, we're gonna go ahead and go to these last two frames here and just check on them. Got any more cells there, we'll tear them off. And we'll take a peek in between the two boxes and see if they've got any on the bottom. Alright, this frame's really light, so there's not going to be much going on here. Looks like they've just got a little bit of pollen in there. A lot of pollen on this side, all different colors pollen. Hopefully you guys can see that. I haven't seen her queen yet. I bet she's down in that bottom box. I haven't seen any eggs. Oh, we're just going to drop this frame right back down in there. Look at this last one real quick. It's really light too. We've got just some nectar and a little bit of pollen on this frame. And it's starting to get quite a bit of nectar in here. We're going to drop it right back down there. Alright, guys, what we're going to do, so these two are our two food frames, our nectar and our pollen. We're going to spread this out right here, and we're going to drop that empty frame that we pulled out. We're going to drop it right here where all the activity is, just to give her some room to come up and lay a bunch of eggs, hopefully. So we've got food frame, then we've got eggs, larvae, bees hatching out on these three frames, and then we've got a food frame, blank frame, food frame, blank frame. And we're going to drop this empty frame right down here to encourage her more room to lay. We're just going to push everything back together so we don't get a bunch of bridge comb. There we go, guys. I'm just going to pop this center open just to look and make sure there's not any queen cells in here. We're happy with this hive. It's doing well. We've got that cracked open there. I'm just going to smoke in between there real quick. Turn that up and let you guys look in here. Getting stung right there, guys. Hopefully you guys were able to see him. That stinger pulls out whenever they sting you. Set this thing up here and let you guys look at it. And basically, whenever you get stung, you want to immediately pull that stinger out, because they're going to leave it in you. immediately pull that stinger out. That'll help with the pain. We're just going to blow a little bit of smoke on there because they left a pheromone where she stung me, and that'll cause the other bees to sting me. Just going to go ahead and smoke them in here to calm them down a little bit, get them out of the way. I'm seeing everything I need to see, guys. I'm not seeing any more queen cells in here. While I got this up, I'm going to go ahead and scrape the bottom of this frame off just to clean it up. Alright, now we're going to take one of our pollen patties, a third of this pollen patty. We know our brood nest is centered right in here, so we're just going to take and get those bees down. We're going to drop that pollen patty right there. Just go ahead and just make some cuts in it so they can get to it a little bit easier. There we go, guys, and we're just going to drop that box back down there. We got them upset, exposing all that larva and cutting the bottom of that off. Just kind of line that top box back up. Smoke these guys down and we'll get that top cover put back on. And we're happy, guys, we're happy with this hive. They got plenty of room. They're not getting ready to swarm yet. So we can keep them that way until the big pollen flow, then we'll get quite a bit of honey out of this hive. And there we go. We're just gonna drop that top cover back on there. And there we go, guys. That hive been going through. We're satisfied that they're doing well. We're just gonna move right over here to this next hive. When I was here last time, this hive had a double box here all winter. For some reason, the population declined quite a bit, so I had to drop that down to one box. And we're gonna open it up and see if possibly they're doing better now. So same thing, guys. We're just gonna crack the top of that. We're just gonna smoke them a little bit. And there's quite a few of them there on top of that cover, so that's good. That inner cover. So hopefully they're doing well. We may add another box to the top of them here. We'll get it cracked open and look at them, see how they're doing. And then we're just gonna smoke them a little bit here. Seeing a whole bunch of drone brood down in there and in that middle. I'm just gonna take a quick look here. Don't see the queen on there. Just gonna prop it up right here between the boxes. See if I can show you guys all that drone brood down in there. So you can see we've got drone brood on all of these frames on the top. So they may be a little bit closer to wanting to swarm. We're going to have to probably go ahead and add another box on top of this whenever we get ready. Give them some more room to move up. They may already be pretty much into the swarming mood. We're going to pull this frame up really slow just in case our queen's on there. We don't want to roll her. It's a real light frame, so it's not much going on. There's a little bit of nectar there on that back side. You can see some lot of nectar in here. I don't see very much pollen at all. And we're just going to prop this frame up here on the outside. Make some room to manipulate these frames. And we're just going to go through here frame at a time. And all 10 frames are full of bees, so yeah, we're definitely going to add another box up here. They've really done well. Another light frame. I'm not seeing really much at all going on there. This one we see some pollen in there, a little bit of nectar in the corners. I'm just going to drop it right back down in there. Move here to this next frame. That's a little bit heavier. Look at all that brood. Oh, so all that's capped over is going to be new bees hatching here real soon. So we definitely need to get them some room. As soon as those hatch, be a lot more activity going on. There's our queen, guys. And you can see her right here. Nice dark queen. Hopefully you guys are getting a good look at her there. She's right here in the middle. So she's doing her job. Flip it over here and look at this other side. Same thing, full frame, a brood there. So that's perfect, guys. That's what we want. We're gonna go ahead and drop her right back down in there. She's right here in the middle, just laying an eye on her. Right here in the middle, we know where she's at. So we're going to keep that away from that other frame, drop it right back down in there. Now we know that she's safe in the box, and we don't have to be as careful with the rest of these frames as we go through here. Matter of fact, I just don't even have to go, like to see don't even have to go through all these frames now. We know she's in there laying good. Go ahead and pull this one up. Oh yeah, another beautiful frame full of brood. So she's a great queen, both sides, guys. So they're doing good. We're not going to go any farther. I'm going to drop that frame back in there. I'm going to smoke them bees down. Pull both of these back over and get that first frame that we pulled out back down in there. Just real slow, not a whole lot of room there. There's quite a few bees on it. Alright guys, so we've got that box back together. Just gonna smoke them back down in there. Gonna go ahead and we're gonna drop one of these pollen patties right on top of that brood. I'm actually gonna drop it a little bit on this side. This is all full brood frame, so I'm betting over here is gonna be some eggs, some smaller brood that are still gonna be feeding. So we're going to drop this patty right over here. I'm going to walk up here to the truck and grab another box, and we're going to set that box right. Actually, what I'm going to do, this was a box that come off the top of it all winter. So I'm just gonna make sure there hadn't any bees moved into this box, and there hadn't. So we're just gonna take this box and we're gonna put it right back on top there. Just gonna real slowly slide that box over, try not to smash them if we can. There we go, that's lined up right there where we want it. All these frames, this is all combed out. Every one of these have got comb on them. So they're just gonna move right up there immediately and go to work in those frames and be able to move right up into it quick. We're just gonna slide this inner cover back on. Alright guys, just like that. Place this top back on here. And we're going to call those bees good. They're doing well. So both of these hives are doing wonderful. And I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my other boxes off the truck now, and we're going to set it back down here. Alright, here's this box, guys. So this is basically what I've got. I've got a feeder in one end of it. So we're ready if we have to feed the swarm that moves in here, which most of the time swarms you don't. I've got one empty frame, just foundation here, and we've got comb, 4 frames of comb, and I've got 3 more frames of just foundation. So we're going to call this our swarm box. We're going to set it right here on this foundation, this bottom board. We're going to have it sitting here just in case one of these hives decides to swarm. We don't get to them in time, and we're hoping that they'll see this empty house and want to move right into it, being right here close, and we won't have to mess with them if we do miss one. And this box is always sitting here if we need extra equipment or something of that nature. So we're just going to I'm just going to set it right down on this bottom board, guys. Just like that, and gonna line everything up where it's square on there. I've got one buzzing around my head here. Not too happy. He didn't like that camera getting close to him. I'll just blow some of that smoke on him, he'll go away. Alright guys, just want to square this off a little bit more, at front corners off. We're just going to come in here and square that box right on that bottom board. And there we go. All it needs is a top. And I actually did bring me another board with me, so I'm going to go grab that board and we're going to put it on top of this hive. Alright guys, so I'm just going to use this board right here as our top cover. There we go, just like that. That box is covered. I already got drones hatched out here, guys. You see those bigger bees there crawling around on the top? Those are all going to be drones. I've got a lot of nectar in this pack frame. Bee bread, looks like they've already mixed that up. A little bit of nectar on the top here, otherwise this frame looks empty. But you guys can see that bee bread with that pollen. They've already mixed that up and that's what they eat. This hive is pretty full, guys. We may end up needing to do a split on them. These frames aren't that heavy. There's a lot of bees on them, but they're not heavy yet, so they don't have a lot of stores in them. All right, there's a frame full of pollen there, guys, all different colors. We've got one queen cell right there in the middle. It's still dry, nothing in it. I'm just gonna rip it off there just to hopefully discourage them. And we're going to take this frame, since that's completely full, we're going to take that frame and we're going to move it to the outside edge. This side's still empty. There's a lot of empty cells there, nothing going on. So we're going to take and turn that pollen frame that's full to the outside here and drop it right on that outside edge. This next frame's got a little bit more weight to it. Yep, look at there, guys. Another good full frame of bees getting ready to hatch. So this queen's doing well as well. Same thing on this side, plumb full of brood. You can see those bigger drone cells. We ripped a few of them open when we pulled them out of there. Right here's a drone running around, already hatched. Huge drone bee, two of them right there. Another one down here at the bottom. So this hive's got plenty of drones in it. So far, she's not a drone layer. I mean, there's still plenty of other brood there, so we're not worried about that. Gonna drop this frame right back down in there. Go to this next one and look at it. Alright guys, you can tell right here she's already come back in. So this is our older brood that's getting ready to hatch, that's capped over. She's already come back in the middle here and started and laid other eggs. It's already turned into larvae, so they're starting to get older. And you can see as you start in the middle, they're big, and as you work your way out, got little bitty, just right here we've actually got eggs down in this corner. Hadn't switched over to larvae yet. I believe it takes 3 days for the eggs to latch into a larva, and then the larva grows, I believe, until right around 2 weeks, and then they cap them over with wax and they metamorphosize into a bee. But this queen's definitely doing her job. We'll look here at this side. Same thing, they've already hatched and she's come back in and laid eggs on them. Got a few queen cells right here on the bottom. See one right here. Okay, they're got one right here that's dry, guys, nothing in it. So they got plenty of room. They still got plenty of room, not getting ready to swarm, but this one we need to watch because they are full. If they get a bunch to hatch out quick, it may be, we may have to split this hive. I'm just going to drop that right back down in there. Go ahead and look at this next frame here. Alright, bunch of, see the whole top of it's full of nectar or pollen all around here. Not just a whole ton of nectar in here, but you've got a good ring of pollen. Pollen mixed in there in the middle, and then they've got some capped over larvae hatching. She's come back in and laid eggs in there. So this is a really good queen. She's keeping those cells full of eggs. That's what we want. Same thing on this side, plumb full of larvae, older larvae. So they're getting ready to start. Capping this larva over. Right here we got a queen cell. Where did I see it at? Now here's one on the bottom. and it's dry. Right here's one in the middle. It's still dry, nothing in it. So they're thinking about swarming, but they're not there yet. We're gonna so this hive's doing really well, and if we can keep them from swarming, it's going to produce a lot of honey for us. So that's the idea. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. Here's a, let's see, right here we've got a frame that they've drawn a bunch of wax on. I believe this frame was probably just foundation when I was here last time checking them, and they've come in here and drawed that comb out and laid a bunch of eggs there in the middle, capped over larvae. This side still hadn't drawn the wax out on it. We're going to drop it right back down in there. Another light frame, not real heavy. So a bunch of empty cells right there, so that she still got plenty of room for stores. They've got some pollen around the outside edges of it. Same thing here. Those cells are all shiny. You can really see the bottom of them shining, so those bees have come in there and cleaned those cells up. Another queen cell there, dry, nothing in it. Another one right down here. There's our queen, guys, right here. So she's, where'd she go? So them bees have come in and really cleaned these cells out here. And then our queen, I just lost her, not sure where she went. So our queen's up here laying eggs. Right here she is, right here, guys. Let's watch her for just a minute. Maybe we'll see her back into one of those cells and lay an egg. She's right there at the bottom of the frame. Hopefully you guys can see her. She may be shy, wanting to get away from us. Coming back up there, she's just going by each one of them cells, checking them out, making sure they've done a good job of cleaning them. When she finds one that she likes, she'll just back end right down into it and lay an egg. Just give her just a little bit longer and we're not going to mess with her. Right there she is, guys. She's not as dark as that other one, but she looks fine and healthy, a pretty queen. All right, we're not gonna stress her out too much and go ahead and drop her back down in there. When we come back in here, she'll have this frame completely filled up with eggs. Since we're already through here, I'm gonna go ahead and we know that she's on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and look at these other 3 frames real quick. Oh yeah, all those are empty. So she's still got plenty of room to lay. They've still got plenty of room to put stores. So we're not gonna do anything with this hive right now. We're just gonna leave it be, and be sure to come back in here in a few weeks and check on it again. At that point, we may have to. To split it or do something to encourage them not to swarm. But I think right now they've still got plenty of room to do stuff, and I'll get back over here before too long and check on them. So just gonna smoke them bees back down. I'll drop this other frame back down in here that we first pulled out. A lot of bees on it. We're just gonna go real slow and ease it back down in there. Try not to damage any of those bees if we can. We don't have to worry about our queen because we know where she's at. So we're just gonna alright, here we go, guys. We're gonna take and we're just gonna pull those frames together in the center so we don't have to worry so much with cross bird comb. Just like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and split it in the middle, and we're gonna put our pollen patty right there in the middle where those new larvae at that they're going to be feeding. Just going to lay that box up right there on his edge just like that. Now we can take a quick look here at the bottom of this box for queen cells. A lot of times that's where they build those queen swarm cells, on the bottom of the box. And we're not seeing any, so we're just going to go ahead and lay that pollen patty right there in the center. Those bees aren't too happy with me doing that. So guys, I'm just going to take that patty and lay it right there. And we're just going to slice in the middle where they can get to it pretty easy. Alright, we're just going to drop that box back down, guys. Try to smoke those bees back in there. Alright, that's good enough there. Get them off that top lip. We're just going to take it. We're going to drop our top right back on there. Real slow, try not to smash any of them, but it's inevitable, guys. Sometimes it just can't be helped. And there we go, that hive's gone through. We're just going to take our blocks and put back on there just to keep the wind from blowing that top off. We're going to lay this medium box right over here on the side with those frames. If we need to throw it on top later, we can. And that's it. Promised you guys a bee video, so finally I was able to deliver and get some video of the bees here. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Right now it's southern part of the United States is swarm season, guys, so if that's something you're interested in, get your box, your frames, your equipment ready to go, and get a hold of your bee clubs, other people in your area that you know that does bees, and a lot of times they'll be happy to give you some swarms when they start getting swarm calls. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.